Attorney fights health insurance company to secure a recovery for our client after winning against the car insurance company. Welcome to this week's client victory. I'm Shane Smith, and today I'm going to be talking to one of the attorneys here at Shanesmithlaw, Thomas Oswald, about one of his most recent client victories here for the case of FB. So Thomas, tell me about FB's case. What happened? How did the accident occur?
So FB was driving on the highway with her sister, who was companion case that went along with this. 65 miles per hour, traveling the speed limit, when someone came up behind them going at about 85 miles per hour, seemingly not paying attention to what was going on in front of them, rear-ended our client in the back of her vehicle at 85 miles per hour, at least 85 miles per hour, causing her vehicle to spin out, spin off the road, whiplash motions going on. And both her and her sister suffered pretty significant injuries from this.
So they were actually still driving, going 60, regular speed on the interstate when somebody just rear-ended them while they're moving?
Yeah, they said it felt like they got hit by a freight train. And,
wow.
When you have an estimate on an accident report, no one really knows how fast the car behind them was going. It could have been 100 miles per hour, it could have been 115. We just know they were going 65 and they got blasted on the highway.
I'm sure that was traumatic to them, experience in and of itself. I guess nobody really expects that.
Yeah, absolutely. And they both FB and AB here, they saw psychologists, therapists for what happened, diagnosed with post-traumatic stress. Each of them had pretty significant injuries. Each of them had both, emotional trauma that they suffered, psychological and physical injury here for sure.
What were their physical injuries?
Physical injuries for FB here was pretty significant spinal trauma. Primarily it was cervical disc herniation that was not really diagnosed appropriately at the emergency room. When you see somebody getting hit this fast, even a fraction of this speed, you'll see them get scanned by the emergency room staff, whether it's a CT scan or x-ray. But here they just sent her on her way and didn't do any scans, which is baffling to say the least. She went to her medical doctor after she was, suffering some falls after that. And they basically recommended an emergency surgery that she had to go in for almost immediately.
Wow. Fortunately, she got diagnosed pretty quickly by her regular MD. Otherwise, there could have been even worse circumstances. Absolutely. And that's what the doctor said, is, said it's fortunate she came in here, or we could be having a different conversation with the next of kin. Wow. Did she recover?
She's still on the road to recovery. I think she's feeling a lot better than she was at first. What happened was a cervical discectomy. She has a pretty significant scar on the front of her neck, and that's the way that they had to go in here. She's on the road to recovery. She's getting there, and I know what we were able to do for her here helped out tremendously.
All right, and let's roll right into that. So what were we able to do for her with the insurance company? How did that go?
We were able to get every single dollar that was available here from the insurance company. We explored potential other routes of recovery, but it turned out here that what we had available was $100,000, and that's what we were able to get for her.
Okay, so we basically got the whole insurance policy that person had, and we're able to get her at least a recovery out of that, I assume.
Absolutely. Yeah. The biggest battle here was with her health insurance provider. When she had the emergency surgery, they paid over $77,000 towards that. And if you look at that, that's almost the entire recovery. And they had a right of recovery through federal law, and we were required to pay $77,000 unless they agreed to do less. So what I did was I got them on the phone. I got the plan administrator on the phone. I talked to her for about an hour, sent her some follow-up documentation to prove what had happened, and she agreed to reduce their fee. And they don't have to reduce it by a single dollar. They're entitled to every single penny of that money, and they agreed to reduce what they had by over $44,000, which I think is pretty significant.
How did FB feel about the whole thing?
She was in tears when I called her up to talk to her about it, because I explained to her what we were looking at with that $77,000 lien, and she was in tears with thankfulness, just really happy about what we were able to make happen for her.
Those are wonderful, wonderful client victories right there. A way you can help her. What's something you learned from this case that you could do for some of your future clients?
Well, when you hear about a health insurance lien, you look at it and say, well, they don't have to take a single dollar off here. Like, what's the point of even trying? But there's always a point in trying. There's always a point in going that extra mile for our clients, because you can see right here, $77,000. It might not mean a lot to a health insurance company, but it sure means a heck of a lot to our clients. And just going that extra mile, making that phone call, following up, we were able to make her incredibly happy and put tens of thousands of dollars in her pocket.
Wow. Well, great job. Good work, and good hanging in there fighting the insurance or the health insurance company. To our listeners, thanks for listening. Remember, if you're in pain, call Shane, 980-999-9999. Or you can order our free book, The Victim Survival Guide to Car Accidents, at shanesmithlaw.com. And like and subscribe down below for our next client victory.
In pain, call Shane.
980-999-9999. 980-999-9999. Shanesmithlaw. In pain, call